Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited about the video today. I'll be doing this acrylic mermaid set for you guys with some marbling, some glitter, some embellishments. Super cute set, and by far my favorite that I have ever done. And my husband's. He loves it too.
They're amazing.
So I'm starting off by dehydrating my nails, and I did all the prep and removal previously. I will have a video linked in the iCards if you guys would like to see how I do my removal and prep.
Hey, this is Zach. Be sure to hit subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss out when Chal uploads new videos. And when you hit subscribe, you'll be part of her polished pride.
So when I do my dehydrator, I make sure to really scrub it into the nail plate. That way I can make sure that it is removing all of my natural oils and fully cleansing the nail plate. Then I'm going to use my very favorite Not Polish Universal tips. I'm going to glue those on, and then we will trim them down and move on from there. So kind of an important announcement for you guys is I will be starting to insert small giveaways in my videos. And what I'm going to do is I will ask you guys a question of the day in all of my videos. You need to make sure that you comment down below and answer the question, because when I do drop in my random giveaways, the winner will be chosen out of the commented answer responses. So my question for today's video is, what is your favorite set that I have ever done? Since these mermaid nails are my personal favorite, I want to know what have been the nails that I've done that is your favorite. So leave a comment down below and let me know.
Fragile handling. I just require a little fragile handling. I just require a little fragile handling. I just require a little fragile handling.
Okay, so now I've got those all applied. I'm going to take my 100 grit Tammy Taylor peel and stick file, and I just file the sidewalls to make sure that they are flush with my growth channels of my natural nail, and then I file down the corners and blend them to my natural nail just so that there is a smooth transition. That way they don't create any bulk in those areas, which can cause lifting if there is a little bit of bulk. So just blend that down. I don't bother to blend the center point because I'm gonna have like my apex kind of transitioning out in that area, so it'll be covered plenty anyways. It's just those corner edges that really need to be blended well so that we don't get any lumps or extra thickness in those areas. So I just showed that on a couple nails since it's all the same on all of them. And I'm going to take my straight edge scissors and trim down the nails to my desired length. Now the tip that I can give for you guys is when I'm going through and trimming these down, I am looking at the bit that I'm cutting off, and I'm using that to gauge how much I cut off of each nail. That way I don't have to stop and measure each individual nail. You'll get the hang of it and you'll get more of a feel for it over time, but that's what I do is I kind of look to see how much I'm cutting off from that first nail, and then I try to cut off that same amount on the following nails. Then I'm just using my file to straighten those free edges a little bit more. So on my thumb and my ring finger, I believe, I did have the tips go on just a tiny bit crooked, and so I'm just using my file to kind of taper in the side that it was leaning towards, and that way it looks straight rather than looking crooked. And then I always flip my hand around to make sure everything looks straight from that angle, and then I just straighten it up if it needs it. Then I'll take my nail brush and remove all of the dust and debris with rubbing alcohol. And now I go in for my second coating of dehydrator. I do like to dehydrate my nails twice just because I feel like I get better adhesion. I don't have to worry about any oils coming through. Now I'm going to go in with my ASP Extra Strength Primer. I have been using this primer again recently, and I've been really loving it. I had been using Young Nails Protein Bond for a really long time, and I'm not entirely sure why, but I was getting quite a bit of lifting when using that product, which is strange because my clients don't seem to have lifting with those products. I think it's just because I'm so rough on my nails because of wrestling with my son, amongst other things. So I just use an acid-based primer on myself. And then I'm going to be taking my Coty Rubber Base Gel. You don't have to put a base gel on your nails when doing an acrylic set. I just prefer to. So I do my layer of primer, and then I do my rubber base gel, really scrubbing that into the natural nail plate, and then I do allow it to overlap onto the nail tip just a little bit, as I just feel like it kind of helps ensure those tips stay on during my application before I've got the product covering that area. Just a little bit of extra insurance for me. So I'm going to go right in with my clear acrylic, and I'm going to work in small beads because I'm just basically trying to cover up my natural nail plate with a very thin layer of this. Since I will be working with highly pigmented acrylics today, I do lay down that clear acrylic just to help protect my natural nail from any staining, and it also gives me a thin layer to file back to in my removal process. Now, I will warn you guys, the application is a little messy. It was really hot in my house, and so my acrylic was setting up much faster than I'm used to. So I did end up kind of changing my methods part of the way through, and I started applying everything really extra wet just to make sure that it wasn't going to cure too fast and become unworkable.
Yeah, you know I keep on running from the truth. Was that not? I'm just
I have to say there are a few points in the video where you'll notice everything kind of goes out of focus, and it's because of the angle at which I've been filming. I've been filming at kind of like a diagonal front view, almost the same type of angle as my personal view. And when I film in this angle, when my brush handle or my hand gets at a certain angle, the camera likes to focus on my hand or the brush rather than on the hand I'm working on. So I think I'm going to switch back to a more just overhead view, and that way we don't have to worry about it going out of focus. Like just then, I think it was out of focus again. So I just wanted to give that little disclaimer and know that I will have it fixed for future videos. For any who may be wondering or unfamiliar, the white spot on the tip of my pinky nail is, I don't know how to pronounce this, so forgive me, anacolysis? I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's basically when your natural nail lifts off of your finger. And again, that's because I am so rough on my nails. So I've been trying to be a lot more conscious of what I'm doing with my hands, using them less when I'm wrestling with my son, not going to grab his hands because that's when he grabs onto my hands and lifts my nails. And then also my husband's been opening our sliding door for me. Well, he's been opening all the doors for me, but mostly with the slider door, he's like running ahead of me to open it for me before I get there because when I open it, it pulls on that pinky nail as I use my left hand to open it, just because of the way the door is when I come inside. Yeah, it's from the slider. So now getting into the fun part, I'm going to show you guys the colors that I had in mind for this set. Now, I didn't use every single one of these. There was 2 or 3 that I left out. I will have it come up on screen and let you know if I did leave it out of the set, but I will also be naming the colors as I use them throughout the video. So when I am going in with a bunch of colors like this, I have a plan for what I want on my nails, but I don't have an exact color selection. So I tend to grab all the colors I think I want to use. I swatch them all out together. That way I can see how they work together. And then I choose which ones I'm actually going to keep and use in the set from there. Like this one, the Missing You, I did not end up using this one. And then I think there's one other, which is like a sparkly gray green in a couple minutes here. That's another one I didn't use. But I think the rest of them, I used them all, I believe. So this is the other one I didn't use, Caribe, and it is a gorgeous color. It's kind of like a dusty gray green, and it would be beautiful for fall or winter, but definitely not the look I was going for with this fun, bright mermaid look. But this one, Copacabana, that glitter, oh my gosh, it is gorgeous. Sparkly glitter purple with turquoise glitter, larger pieces. Oh my gosh, so pretty. Okay, so getting right into this, we are going to be starting with the In My Feeling, which is that kind of hot fuchsia pink by Not Polish. I laid that down and it set up faster than I was ready for it. So I hadn't quite started working wet enough yet on this nail. So then I went in with Very Chic and then Blueberry, and I'm just kind of letting them kind of marble together, but not really. I'm just making them kind of swirly. I wanted them to be very transparent in some areas, more opaque in other areas, and just kind of flowy. Now this nail was not my favorite of the set. I'm glad that it was on my thumb and won't show up in most of the pictures. But the people that I have showed it to, friends and family, they all like it, which is weird to me. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of this nail, because it was definitely not my favorite. But I'd like to know which one was your favorite when the set is done and you guys have had a chance to see them all. Let me know which nail was your favorite. I'm not going to tell you mine. So now I'm going to go in with this beautiful, absolutely stunning mint green. It is Sweet Tooth by Not Polish. Also, guys, I do have a coupon code with Not Polish. It is linked down below, but I will pop it on the screen for you as well. It'll save you 10% on your orders to help save a little bit of money when you're ordering these gorgeous shades. So for this one, I definitely should have started at the tip of the nail and worked my way back, but I don't normally work in that fashion. I normally like to work from cuticle to tip. Since it was so hot in my house, I definitely should have worked tip back to cuticle, as the cuticle area does dry faster because of the heat coming from your fingers. So I'm just going to continue to build up this nail with as many beads as I need to. I believe this will be the last bead.
Everything I believed in, but you said shut it off, you're too old for dreaming. So I did my best to feel what you're feeling. But what about what I want? What about what I want? Cause what I wanted was to laugh at the way you laugh at the way I laugh, but instead you were moody, and you wanted me to be what you need instead of being me. Oh, and that's how I knew it. I guess I never loved you like I love.
Okay, so like I said, just waiting for that to set just a minute, just until it starts turning matte. And the second that happens, I am taking this netting and really pressing it down into the nail, making sure that I wrap it around the nail and get the sidewalls really good as well, as I want to have that impression over the entire tip of the nail.
I guess I never loved you like I love me. I guess I never loved you, and that's okay with me. Okay, 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 okay with me. Okay, okay, okay,
So I just very lightly tapped down any bits that were sticking up a little. And now I'm just taking a very wet bead of that blueberry shade by Mia's Secret, and I'm working that into the impressions that were left behind by that netting. Of course, guys, also everything I used today will be linked in the description box for you guys. So if you have any questions or you want to purchase some of the items, they are all linked down below. So now I'm going to use some of this Blueberry Mint Icy Mylar Flakes by Young Nails, and I'm going to take some clear acrylic and lay it down over my nail, so that way I have something for the Mylar to stick to. Now I definitely should have gone a little bit wetter with my acrylic, as once it's set up a little bit, now the Mylar flakes are not sticking into it the way that they should have, but that's totally okay, because once I get them placed, I'm going to take a very wet bead of the clear acrylic and just kind of float it over the top of the Mylar to hold everything down and kind of encapsulate it for me. Anytime that you are encapsulating, you do want to work really wet with the bead of product. That way the acrylic can kind of sink down in between and get into those edges and indents from the embellishments or the Mylar or whatever you're using, because if the acrylic is used in the kind of medium correct consistency, the way that you would use it for kind of building a nail, you will get air bubbles. So just make sure that you are working wet when doing any kind of encapsulating. So once I get that pressed into shape, I'm going to use my Maxed Out Glitter by Young Nails and that clear acrylic. I'm dipping into the clear acrylic and then directly into the glitter, and I'm going to work that just over top exactly where I had the Mylar flakes. Then I'm going to wet my brush with some monomer so I can help kind of disperse the glitter a little bit. I didn't want it to be fully opaque. I did want it to be semi-transparent so that those Mylar flakes can peek through certain areas, and that way you get like some areas looking more with that turquoise blue and some areas catching more of the gold from the Mylar flakes. So beautiful. So on this nail, I am going to be doing a glitter fade, so I'm going to use the In My Feeling by Not Polish, and I'm working that down the nail, pressing it into shape. There is not enough at the tip, so I will be adding a second bead before going in with my glitter. Okay, so I've got that pressed out basically, and now I'm going to go in with my absolutely favorite glitter of the set, the Carnival by Mia's Secret. And this Carnival is a glitter acrylic, so I didn't have to add any of the clear in with the glitter. It's already in there for you, so you just pick it up like a regular acrylic powder and work it onto the nail. Absolutely beautiful. So I worked it back into the cuticle, cleaned up where it was touching the skin, and now I'm going to press it flat and fade it down over the hot pink color. If you have not mastered doing ombres or fades with acrylic yet, I would highly recommend starting with a glitter, as they are much easier to fade out. Now I'm just going to use that Sexy Hand, which is kind of like a shimmery purple pink, very light, beautiful color. And I'm going to allow this to kind of fade over the glitter and Mylar that I had previously laid down. Now I moved on to my pinky nail first because I wanted the clear acrylic that I had used on this middle finger to set up and cure properly before going in and doing my ombre. You do need to have patience to let products set up when you're doing an ombre. Otherwise, the colors will just run together and it'll look more like it'll look more like a marble than a fade. So I'm just going to continue to pat and press that into shape. And then I will get a bit more of a wet bead and place it right where this color meets the glitter area, and I'll blend it down nicely until I'm happy with the blend. Now I do have some little areas back by the cuticle that are not quite full of color, so I will just get very tiny beads and fill those little holes.
You're the only one I want there at the end of my story. It's the only thing I figured out. Cause everything else in my life without you would be boring. And we'll spend nights, cheap red wine, look at flights even though we can't afford them. I don't wanna let you down, I don't wanna lose you now.
Right, so for my last nail, I am just going to take very wet beads of various colors and marble them together so that I get a nice marbled look. And I'll just kind of add colors where I think they would look nice. Once this nail is done, I will go ahead and use clear acrylic to encapsulate all of the nails, as these are not builder colors. They don't have any strength to them, so all of the nails were kept fairly thin and do need to be capped and encapsulated with that clear acrylic for all the strength and structure. The only one I'm not going to apply a lot of clear to is that middle finger, and that is because the Sexy Hand color, it is like a core strength powder, and so I allowed the apex to be built mostly with that color. So I will just add a very thin, very thin amount of clear on that Sexy Hand color, and then clear down on top of the glitter.
I still love you like crazy. I wanna let you know. Love you like crazy. Even when it gets hard and we wanna let go. Love you like crazy. Never been the type for giving up. Complicated situations only make it worse, cause just getting started is not enough. I'll be around when you need me, promise there won't be no leave. Even on my worst days, 2 a.m. a shift face, tripping off something that you done, yeah. I would never listen my rock compass and run out on you. I know we got problems, but I would never walk out on you. Sometimes nothing I could say to you could change up your mind. I'll get on your nerves and then we'll fight. Give you all the space you need in on those nights, yeah. Even on your worst days, when you get in my face, tripping on something that I've done, yeah. I would never listen my rock compass and run out on you. I know we got problems, but I would never walk out on you. I wanna let you know. Even when it gets hard and we wanna let go, I still love you like crazy. I wanna let you know. Even when it gets hard and we wanna let go, I still love you like crazy. Love you like crazy. Love you like crazy.
Here we go, it's all about you, it's all about me, it's all about what we do. Making art, you and me, trying to find something to believe. Because I'm running wild, I ain't running free. Still got a lot of shit left to see. I'm stuck in this town, and the town's stuck in me. Always trying to find another reason to leave, but we sit at home, all alone, hoping one day our names will be known. Cause I'm stuck on the bottom, trying to feel on top, wishing everything would just come to a stop. Cause we're trying to fill the holes in our souls, trying to feel the music, let it take control. Stuck on the bottom, trying to feel on top, wishing everything would just come to a stop. Being hurt, what a concept. Gotta stay alive, yeah, that's the mindset. Caffeine mornings, vodka nights. Gotta be awake, gotta live this life. Hoping there's more, but knowing there's less. We gotta keep going and hope for the best. Walking the streets, just you and me, trying to fill the void, trying not to bleed. Sometimes life just moves too slow. You gotta find a reason to push it and go. You know we're trying our best to be a success. We're living our life trying to clean up the mess. Cause I'm stuck in this route, day in, day out. Thoughts come in but nothing comes out. I'm still trying to feel on top, wishing all the shit would just come to a stop. Trying to fill the holes in our souls, trying to feel the music, let it take control. Stuck on the bottom, trying to feel on top, wishing everything would just come to a stop.
Thinking about you, and I'm thinking about all the things that we used to do. Thoughts are coming in a wave, so I say it to your face. Better only tell the truth, yeah, I'm trusting you. Every time you come around, make me think you my dude. Think I know you either way, yeah, I know you want me stay, yeah. So are you down to ride with a bitch like me? Will you come around with?
So I know these are not looking great right now. They are very thick, very lumpy, but I promise in just a moment you will see. This is how they look before, and this is how they were after filing and shaping. Like I always tell you guys, it is all about the filing and shaping. So now I'm just going to take some builder gel in a frosted pink color, and we are going to use this to paint on the little seashell, clamshell type design. I'm going to be using a very detailed brush, and I'm going to be creating almost like teardrop shapes, but in the reverse. So it'll be thicker up at the top, and then I'll pull it down to a point and just allow the product to float off of the brush. Now I will flash cure in between layers, and I will do 2 layers to each individual teardrop shape. I'll do a total of 5 of these shapes. Together, they will create that seashell, clamshell type effect. And I did notice if I use the tip of my brush, I get that tapered teardrop type of effect a lot easier than if I lay it down. So I'll just continue, and as I work down the side of the nail, I start making them a little bit shorter. So this one and the one to the left of the main line, they're a little bit shorter, and then the very side ones will be even shorter, and they start to angle out a little bit. Now I know on this one, you're not going to be able to really see what I'm doing, and I am so sorry for that. You'll be able to see better what I'm doing here on the next section. But basically I'm just adding that second layer to build up the thickness so that we get a lot of dimension on this little seashell. So just doing the exact same thing, starting by letting most of it kind of float off the brush to create the thickness up at the top, and then dragging it down to a point at the very bottom. And then it did start to run into that center line a little bit, so I just wiped off my brush and then used it right in between the two to clean it up and give it a nice separation. I'm doing the same thing again, trying to clean that up so that they have a good separation, but I noticed after I put my hand in and brought it out, they kind of ran together there a little bit at the bottom, so it was okay though. So again, on this one, not really able to see much of what I was doing down there. So sorry about that, guys. I'm so sorry. Sometimes I get so focused on what I'm doing, I forget to make sure that I'm in camera. So just adding that second layer to this one, and then we'll do the other side as well in the same way, just floating the product down off of the brush, allowing it to taper down to a nice point.
No worries, please get back early. Head out with champagne and dresses and let's get girly. No worries, please get back early. Head out with champagne and dresses and let's get girly.
Okay, so that's the last one, so I flash cured that, and now I'm going to take a no wipe top coat, and I'm putting that down on my palette, and I'll use my detail brush just to go over the top of these little ridged shapes that I made. And the reason I'm doing this is because I will be using a Aurora chrome powder to give a beautiful effect on this seashell. So you do need a non-wipe top coat when you are working with a chrome powder, and I'm doing 2 of these sections at a time and only flash curing for 3 to 5 seconds in between, just to kind of start to freeze it in place, because when working with a chrome powder, you need to only cure your top coat for maybe 20 to 30 seconds. If you go longer than that, it's not going to grab onto the pigment. So in total, I think I cured that very center line for 30 seconds, but the rest was like 25 and then 20 seconds. So I'm just going to take my sponge and really work that into the seashell. This chrome powder is so freaking pretty, and it gives different effects depending on the color underneath of it. So I actually got it on Amazon, so I will have that linked down below along with everything else for you guys. So if you're interested, you can pick it up too, because it's actually quite a big pot for being chrome. So now I'm going to start on my embellishments. I'm going to start by using a little flat back pearl and some of my favorite rhinestone glue gel by McCart, and I'm going to put it right at the base of the seashell I made. I really think this kind of made it, I don't know, just emphasized and complemented the seashell so perfectly, and really made me think of a clamshell once I added that pearl. So I really, really loved adding that in. I just think it completed that seashell. So now I'm going to go in on my little fish scale mermaid nail and start applying some little starfish and some pearls and some opal gems, just a little assortment to cluster together. And I thought about using some of these other pearls on this nail, but in order to use pearls that don't have a flat back, you really do need to indent the nail, otherwise it doesn't sit right and it will just pop right off. So I just went in with the same flat back pearls that I had used on the little seashell, and now I'm using these little green opal rhinestones and completing my little cluster. After I get all my little embellishments applied, I do use a little cleanup brush just to remove and blend out any excess rhinestone gel, just to make sure that there is no kind of funny edges or lips. That way it blends out into the nail perfectly. If you don't blend it out with a little brush, there will be kind of like a ledge, and you'll see it underneath the top coat, or there'll be like, the ledge will still be there when you apply the top coat. So I just use that to blend it out and get a nice smooth transition down to the nail. This will be my last cluster on my little pinky here, which I used some pink opal rhinestones and some AB rhinestones as well. So after cleaning that up and making sure to remove any that was touching the skin, I gave it a 60-second cure. Now I'm going to go in with my top coat, and I'm really going to work this. I removed a lot of the top coat from the brush because I have to make sure to work it into the little indents in the seashell. You want to make sure you get in between all of those little ledges and really work it in there so that it is fully coated, but you still have that definition and dimension in the nail. And I do put the top coat right over top of the pearl as well. That way it holds on the coating and it doesn't flake off after a few days or a week or so. So it'll be the same on this nail, and on the pinky I'm going to use the brush from the top coat and work it as close to all the little embellishments as I can. And then I will use my little detail cleanup brush, and I'm going to put the top coat on top of the pearls, the gold starfish, and then around but not on top of the opal stones. If you put them on top, they're not going to catch the light and they will kind of dull out a bit. But I do want to protect the gold embellishments, as they can kind of tarnish if they are not protected by that top coat. And then I do flash cure these for about 10 seconds before moving on to the next nail, just because it takes longer to work that top coat around each of the little rhinestones and embellishments. So it'll be the same on this one. I'll work it up as close as I can. Then I'll use my detail brush to get behind all of these little rhinestones, but I will not be top coating over the top of them.
It's been a while, you're not like those other guys. If I'm being honest, you're all that I wanted, 'cause you make me wanna change. I broke a few hearts or two, now I'm gonna get this right. No, I'm not a raw martyr, nothing ever seems to last. Baby, now that I got it, I'll be better with you. I'll be better with you. Now that I got it.
So we will give that a 60-second cure, and then we will put on some cuticle oil and we will be all done. I am so in love with how this set came out. Oh, I kind of impressed myself with it, not gonna lie, because it's been a couple months since I did any acrylic, and I really am a polygel and gel tech. I do know how to do acrylic and I do it pretty decent, but I definitely work with gel a lot more and I'm better at it. So I was very happy with how the set came out, and I thought the design was just absolutely beautiful. But I want to know what you guys think of the set. Let me know down below. Don't forget to tell me which of your favorite nails was your favorite and answer that question of the day. Let me know what is your all-time favorite set of mine. Of course, if you guys have any questions, suggestions, or requests for different sets, let me know down below. I love to hear from you. Be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.